Hello all, my name is Krishnak and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'll show you how you can deploy your machine learning model in AWS EC2 instance. Now, from past many days, I've told you that I'll be uploading this particular video. I'm extremely sorry about the delay. But yes, today in this particular video, we'll try to understand how we can actually go ahead and deploy how we can deploy our machine learning models in the AWS instances. Okay, so to begin with, guys, what I'm going to do is that first of all, I'm going to go ahead and first of all show you the ML model that I've created, and this I have already discussed in one of the videos where I've actually explained about Heroku model deployment. So the example that I'm going to take is salary prediction, how we can basically predict salary. And again, if you want to understand the code, it was already explained in my previous video in deployment playlist itself. You can have a look, but before going ahead, we have to take care of some of the steps. First of all, the framework that I'm going to use is Flask. What I'm going to do is that first I'll try to run this in my local environment and try to see whether it is working fine or not. So to begin with, what I'm going to do is that first of all, I'm going to go ahead and click on Anaconda prompt. First of all, I'll go and open my Anaconda prompt, go to this particular path, right? Because I want to run this from this particular path itself. So I'll write cd slash and I'll go to that ML model. Now, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to run python app.py. I'll execute it. Now, as soon as I execute it, you can see that it will get started. And here is the IP that you can see over here. And this is basically in my local environment. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to go to my to my browser. I'll hit over here. You can see that in some time the whole web page will get loaded. Here, this is what I was actually, we need to predict the salary. Suppose I have 10 years of experience. If my test score is around 9 within 10 itself, and here my interview score is 8. If I click on predict, you'll be able to get this particular output. And usually HR can use this particular application for many purpose. Now this is totally fine, absolutely perfect. I think there's no problem into it. Now, the next step that I have to do is that I have to deploy this whole code in my EC2 instance, which may be a cloud server where I can actually deploy my model. So first of all, you just go to AWS. So I'll say AWS login. Go over here, click on AWS Management Console. Make sure that you have your login ID, register for it. And as soon as you register for it, and if you go back, after login over there, you'll be able to see this particular screen. Now what you have to do is that inside this, you go to EC2, right? So EC2 is like a virtual server in the cloud, and we'll try to use the free tier that is available in AWS, which is completely for free. Now I'll go and click on running instance. Now, as soon as I go and click on running instance, I've already created two just for my practice. What I'm going to do is that I'll go and click on launch instance. Now, as soon as I click on launch instance, I'm actually creating a cloud server now where I can actually deploy my model and create an API out of it. Okay. So there are a lot different versions of cloud servers over here. You have with respect to Windows Server, you have with respect to Ubuntu Server, Linux, and many more environments. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to use a free tier, and for that I'll use Ubuntu, because I feel comfortable working in Ubuntu. So here you can see that I have my free tier eligible over here. I'll go and select it. And usually in companies, they don't just use free tier, because in free tier, none of the libraries will be pre-installed. You have to do it manually, which I'll show you in some time. Now, the next page will basically say choose an instance type. Now here you have to select this T2 micro if you are availing the free tier eligibility. Other will be a little bit chargeable, so make sure that you select this so that none of your money goes out, right? Then I'll go and click on review and launch. After this, again, I'll go and click on launch. Now, the next thing that I will be doing over here is something that we have to create a new key pair. Whenever a new instance is created for a new model, it is always better that you create a new key pair. So here I'll say that ML demo test. Okay. And I'm going to download this key pair. Now, as soon as I download this key pair, you can see that this ML demo test is here. I'm going to copy this file inside my code where I'm actually writing. Here you can see that I have written EC2. This is my ML model, and here I'm going to paste it, right? So here I'm going to paste it over here, and this is where all the files are there. I'll be telling you the use of PEM file, because this PEM file will actually help us to create a private key file. Okay. And that private key file will help us to interact with the Linux environment where we can actually deploy our code. And this Ubuntu server basically will be able to connect to it. Okay. Now I'm going to go and click on launch instance. As soon as I click on launch instance, it will take some time for initializing. So I'll go and click over here. Now you can see that over here, it is getting created. What you can do is that you can also write a name. I'll say test Krish and I'll just press enter. So till this is getting created, what I'm going to do is that you need to download some softwares. Now first software is basically called as Putty. Okay. So Putty, you have to download it. Make sure you download this Putty for Windows, because this Putty actually helps you to connect to the Ubuntu server, and with the help of command prompt you can do a whole lot of things. Okay, so one is Putty and the other one is something called as PuttyGen. So this, you need to download these two softwares, and one more software which I'll tell you in a while. But PuttyGen will actually help you to create a private key from your PEM file, this PEM file that you have actually downloaded. Okay, I'll show you all the steps, but just follow this. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is that I'm going to show you very quickly one of the technique I've written over here. First of all, I have the Flask code. I'm running and checking in the local. I created an AWS account, created an EC2 instance. Then what you have to do is download Putty and PuttyGen. Okay, so this is the library that will be required in order to deploy your model. Okay, in order to first of all connect with the Ubuntu server. So this two software is absolutely required. Now what I'll do is that I will just go into my Putty generator. So that is PuttyGen. Here I am going to load my PEM file. Make sure you select all files, and here you can see that mldemo pem.pem is there. As soon as I do this, I click on OK and I save the private key. Now when I save the private key, here again I'm going to say that I'm going to give a name like mldemo test.ppk. Okay, so this has got saved, and this private key is important because this will help you to interact with the AWS EC2 instance. Okay, just follow the steps. That will be actually very, very helpful. Now I'm going to go and update this particular notepad. Okay, now in my 6th point, I'm going to say that generate a private key with the help of PuttyGen. Okay, so pretty much simple. My 6th point is that. Okay, now I'll go back to my browser. Okay, and I need to download one more software, and that software is something called as WinSCP. Now this particular software is important, guys, because this will actually help you to deploy the code in your EC2 instance, because it is just like you're connecting to the server and you can just drag and drop all the codes that you require. Now for this, first of all, they'll ask you the host name. Okay, now if you want to understand the host name, first of all, go over here, go to actions and say connect. So you'll be getting your host name. Okay, and then I'm going to connect it over here, right? Then I'm going to say my username is Ubuntu. I'll go and click on advanced. Now here in the authentication, you will be seeing some options of uploading this PPK file, because this PPK file is a private key to connect with your Ubuntu server, right? So I'm going to select this and I'm going to say open. And as soon as I do this, I'll click on OK. And then I will go and click on login. So as soon as this gets, if I press yes, now you'll be able to see that the folder inside the Ubuntu server I'll be able to access. Now currently it is empty. You can see /home/Ubuntu, and this is of this particular instance that I have actually created. Okay, the folder location. Now I have to drag and drop the code. Now in order to drag and drop, I'll just go and select some code like app.py I'll just drag and drop it over here. I require the templates folder because some HTML content are present over there. Then I definitely require my pickle file, because this is how I have created a machine learning model, and requirement.txt. Requirement.txt has all my libraries that I require. Now this is perfectly fine, but still currently to the server that I have connected, most of the libraries have not been installed. So I have to install that libraries. So for that, what I'll go and select Putty. Now inside this Putty, again, I will go and select my URL. That same URL, I'll paste it over here. I will just write this as mldemo test. Okay, and I will go to the SSH. Again here, if I click over here and if I click on authentication, it will tell me to put the private key again. So here I can actually put my private key called PPK, and then I'll save this. I'll save it. Now here you can see that ML demo test is created. I'll just click on open. Now I'm able to access the command prompt of that particular Ubuntu server, and by just writing any commands, I will be able to do a whole lot of things. Okay, so here it is. I have logged in into that. Now I can see this is my command prompt. Now the first thing you can see that if I write pwd, you'll be able to see /home/Ubuntu. Now if you see in the WinSCP, here also I'm in /home/Ubuntu. Now if I see ls, if I do ls, you can see all the files are present over here. Now the first thing is that I have to install some libraries. So if I write pip3 install pandas, it is going to give me an error. Okay, it says that pip3 is not found, so use this particular command. But I will not use this also. So if I use this, just see this. If I use this, and if I press enter, still it will say that it is unable to locate package python 3 pip. The reason I'm getting this error because my pip is not updated. Okay, now in order to update that, what I'll do is that I will just show you one small command that you just have to write it over there. That is sudo apt-get update and sudo apt-get install python-pip. So I'll just copy this. I'll press over here as I'll just paste it over here. Then what I'll do is instead of writing Python, I'll say Python 3 because I need the pip installer for Python 3. Okay, that is greater than 3 version. Once I press enter, this will automatically install all the pip commands. Now till this is getting installed, the pip 3 is getting installed, what I'll do is that again they'll ask you to select Y. So yes, just do it and you'll be able to see it. Now soon this is happening. Let me just go back to my browser. Now one thing, very important thing that I have missed out over here is that I need to say that this instance, right, will be accessible from everywhere. So for that, if I want to set it up, you just go and click on security groups. Now in security groups, you have to go and create a security group. Then suppose I'll say full access. I want to give this full access so that anybody can access it. So I'll say full access. I'll click on add rule. Okay. Here instead of, and these are various protocols that you can basically communicate with this particular API. I'll say all traffic. Okay. So I will give a permission of all traffic. I'll say anywhere. Okay. Anywhere, from anywhere you can basically access it. Now what I'll do is that I will create this. Okay, so it is saying that error security already exists. Okay, so I'll just say full access one, because I think I already created that while practicing this thing. So here it is, it has got created. Now you can see that I have full access one over here, right? Now this security groups needs to be included or needs to be linked with that EC2 instance. So what I'll do is that next I will go and click on network interfaces. Very important guys, network interfaces. Now here you can see I have this full access. I think it will basically be this one only. Let's see the date over here. Okay, now in order to verify, what you can do is that you can verify with the help of instance ID because everything looks similar, right? Now if I go and click on security groups, just a second, I'll just go back to my security groups. Here you can see that full access one, still the instance is not given over here, but I think I can verify this. Group ID is 456. Let me go over here. Okay, so yes, this is the first one that is there. I will go and say change security groups. Now if soon as I say this, you will be able to provide the access. Now I'll provide this full access one so that anybody from outside can also interact with it. Okay, and I'll save it. So as soon as I save it, you can see that I'm providing the access of full access one to this. Now what I have actually done, I have actually helped all the users to access this, right? So I'll go back to my security groups. Now this is perfectly fine. I've given the security group permissions so that you can access that. I'll go back to my instances. This is already running. Now let me just go back to my command prompt of my putty. Okay. Now the one thing that I definitely want to do is that I have to install all the libraries, right? because I have various libraries dependency. So I'll go to my Spider. You see that I've created one requirement.txt file. And here I have written all the libraries that I want. Okay. So first of all, I have to install all these libraries that I require because this is the dependency. One more thing that I missed out, what I'm going to do, I'm going to comment out this particular code because I don't require it. Usually whenever you are deploying in the cloud, right, you have to make sure that you run this in this particular IP address and the port should be given as 8080. Okay. So now I'm going to save this particular file. Let's see whether the indentation is correct or not. Yes, it is absolutely perfectly fine. So what I'm going to do is that after this, I'm going to save this particular code and I will go to my WinZip and then I will just make that changes available inside my Ubuntu server. So I'm just copying and dragging and dropping it. Now here is all my file. Now what I'll do is that I have to run this requirement.txt, all the libraries inside it, right? I have to install it. So for that, I can just use one command, which I have pasted it over here, copied it over here. I'll go to my Ubuntu, my putty. I'll paste it here. Okay. Now here you can see that I've pasted it. Now instead of writing pip install, I'll say pip3 install because I have installed pip3, right? And I need it for Python 3 greater than versions, right? Now it will take some time to install this, all the libraries that are actually required. And once it is installed, I'm going to deploy this particular code in AWS EC2 instance. And once that is done, you'll be able to see that particular code over there and you will be able to verify everything with respect to your machine learning model. You'll be able to see that particular HTML page also. So just give me some time so that this gets installed. Till then, what I'll do is that I will go back to my, yes, now you can see that it has got installed. After this, I'll go back to my instance over here. And then what I'm going to do is that I am just going to, I'll just go back to my putty and I'll just write Python, okay, 3 app.py because this is my file that I need to run. So as soon as I select this, it will start running. Now you can see that it is running on this particular port that is 8080. Now let me go back to my EC2 instance. I will select this. I'll get the URL. Okay, so I'll say connect. As soon as I say connect, this is my URL that you can see over here. And here I'm going to write it as like this. And I'm going to say 8080 because that is my port. And once I execute it, you can see that perfect. Like my app is basically deployed, right? And when I write my experience like 8 years and my test score is somewhere around 9, my interview score is 9. Okay. So if I predict the salary, you can see that the salary that you have with respect to that experience test score and that is somewhere around this much. That is $76,847. And guys, this is in AWS EC2 instance. See the URL over here. This is basically hosted, right? So this is pretty much very much easy. When I showed you all the steps, make sure that you follow the steps that I've told you. I will again showcase that in my notepad file. So after generating the private key with puttygen, what I'm going to do is that the next thing, download WinSCP so that you can copy and paste your code, update the port in your Flask code and make sure that you have in 0.0.0 and 8080 as a default port. Then after that, after you deploy the code, install the libraries by connecting through putty, right? So this is very much important. So after you connect through putty in your Ubuntu server, you'll be able to install all the libraries. And pretty much simple, you just have to run Python 3 app.py. And I've also showed you how to install the pip also. Make sure you use that particular command. Again, you can also rewind your videos and actually see it. And once you execute this, you just get the execution URL. So you get the execution URL or API URL, I'll say, or web URL from the EC2 instance and verify it. That's it. Very much simple, very much easy, I guess. I hope you understood this, and this is how your application is basically here, right? You can see over here, this is your /predict in your local, and this is in your AWS EC2 instance. So I hope you understood this particular videos, guys. Please do subscribe to the channel if you have not already subscribed. I'll see you all in the next video. Please do share with many of your friends because many of them want to learn how to do the deployment in EC2, and this is how you can basically do it. You can also deploy more complex models by using this free tier. You can also go with NLP model and all. Just try with some NLP examples and try to deploy it, and let's see like how it will work. Just comment down after you try with different examples, and do let me know like what difficulties are you facing, right? So this was all about this particular video. I hope you like this particular video. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. I'll see you all in the next video. Have a great day ahead. Thank you, one and all.